The training camp gates in Philadelphia have officially swung open, and while the early whispers around the league suggested a quiet start, what is actually happening behind closed doors is nothing short of an absolute earthquake. Forget everything you thought you knew about last year's stagnant offense, because a complete cultural and schematic revolution is currently tearing through the NovaCare complex. From shocking injury realities to masterclass performances that are turning heads, the entire landscape of this football team is shifting in real time. But the path to a championship is never smooth, and the first week of camp has delivered both massive victories and brutal warning signs that could dictate the entire season. Let's dive straight into the biggest story shaking up the defense right now. When camp opened, the initial word coming out of the front office regarding edge rusher Jalen Hunt. Wait, let's look at the actual personnel. Regarding the defensive trenches was optimistic, but the reality printed by its coaching staff was a completely different story. While initial updates tried to downplay the severity of the situation, it has become painfully clear that a major piece of the pass rush is facing a brutal uphill battle. A significant injury setback is threatening to sideline key personnel for a massive chunk of training camp, robbing the defense of crucial reps in a brand new, complex defensive scheme. In a system where every single repetition is treated like gold, missing time is a disaster. The scheme being implemented demands precision, discipline, and responsibilities that veterans have never been asked to handle before. Without those foundational practice reps, integrating back into the lineup later becomes an immense mountain to climb. However, as the old saying goes, one man's misfortune is another man's golden ticket. The void left by these injuries has opened the door wide for unexpected playmakers to step up and demand attention. Enter the unexpected heroes of the first week. Players who were fighting just to stay on the roster are suddenly turning heads and making life miserable for the offensive line. Fresh faces and depth pieces are showing up in peak physical condition, showcasing explosive burst and veteran savvy that has caught the coaching staff completely off guard. Reports from the field indicate that the defensive front is flying around with a level of ferocity that has left quarterbacks scrambling. During recent practice sessions, if the whistles hadn't blown to protect the signal callers, the defensive front would have racked up an astonishing number of sacks, completely dominating the line of scrimmage. It is a relentless, suffocating display of defensive dominance that proves the depth of this roster might just be its greatest superpower. Even newcomers fighting for their football lives are flashing brilliance, stepping into roles they were never expected to contest, and proving they belong on the field when the games actually matter. Yet, despite the defensive fireworks, the undisputed headline coming out of Philadelphia is the breathtaking transformation of the offense. For months, analysts and fans have debated the direction of the passing game, wondering how the unit would evolve. The answer has arrived in the form of a schematic masterclass that has completely modernized the attack. Heavy motion, disguised formations, and an aggressive, forward-thinking playbook are leaving defenders spinning in circles. At the center of it all is a renewed, razor-sharp chemistry between the franchise quarterback and his top targets. Observers on the sidelines have noted that the connection looks less like a grueling NFL practice and more like child's play. The timing is immaculate, the precision is lethal, and the execution is leaving elite cornerbacks grasping at air. One particular wide receiver has taken over the spotlight as the unquestioned alpha of the receiving corps, running crisp routes, flashing brilliant late hands near the sideline, and effortlessly beating all-pro cover men. This standout playmaker is operating on an entirely different plane of existence. But he isn't carrying the load alone. Unheralded additions and intriguing prospects are stepping up to fill out the rotation, showing deep ball tracking and explosive playmaking ability that has the entire sideline buzzing. The contrast between this new offensive identity and the struggles of the past is staggering. Instead of predictable play calling and stagnant possessions, the playbook is now a living, breathing chess match. The running game and the passing game are seamlessly married together, utilizing misdirection and constant motion to force linebackers to hesitate for even a fraction of a second. That tiny hesitation is all it takes to rip open the middle of the field for explosive gains. Behind the scenes, the psychological shift within the locker room is just as powerful as the XS and OS. The energy surrounding the team is lighter, more cohesive, and utterly free of the heavy, lingering tension that used to shadow their every move. Without the weight of massive egos demanding a mandatory share of the football on every single drive, the offense is playing with a newfound freedom. The reads are quicker, the distribution is fairer, and the quarterback is playing with a smile, looking completely relaxed and entirely bought into the master plan orchestrated by the new coaching staff. When a leader is having fun, when a locker room is pulling in the exact same direction, and when the scheme is actively producing effortless results on the field, the ceiling for this team instantly skyrockets. Of course, a balanced look at training camp requires examining the friction points, because perfection is never achieved in week one. While the top-tier targets are dominating, the battle for the remaining roster spots in the receiving room has been remarkably quiet. Beyond the established playmakers, the depth pieces have struggled to consistently separate themselves. Young rookies and veteran journeymen alike are still searching for their footing, leaving a noticeable void behind the primary options. If this team wants to make a deep run, someone from that secondary tier is going to have to step up and demand the football before the preseason games arrive. Furthermore, the offensive line, traditionally the immovable fortress of this franchise, has faced its share of adversity. Dealing with lingering health concerns from key starters and facing an elite, hyper-aggressive defensive front has led to moments where the pocket has collapsed entirely. While padless practices always favor the defense, the sheer volume of would-be pressures and sacks serves as a flashing warning light. Protecting the franchise quarterback is the ultimate priority, and until the pads come on and the physical trench battles truly begin, questions will remain about how this unit holds up against the fiercest front sevens in the league. And let us not forget the ground game, which is quietly evolving into a dual-headed monster. While the lead back continues to showcase elite vision and explosive capability, a certain bruising young rusher is commanding an unprecedented share of first-team reps, showing devastating speed, power, and tackle-breaking ability. This emerging weapon is forcing the coaching staff's hand. If current deployment trends hold into the regular season, opposing defenses are going to have nightmares trying to slow down a backfield that rotates fresh, elite talent without missing a single beat. As the first week of camp draws to a close, the overarching narrative is clear. This is a football team undergoing a massive evolution. The schemes are sharper, the vibes are infinitely higher, and the hunger to prove the doubters wrong is palpable in every single drill. The pieces are all on the board. The culture has shifted. The playbook is unlocked. But training camp is only the prologue. The true test of whether this high-octane revolution can translate into ultimate glory is still waiting on the horizon.